Hi everyone, welcome back. We are reading Otter by Katherine Applegate, and today we are starting part 3, which is called Otter number 209, The Present. Recovery. After almost 3 years of freedom, Otter again lies in a cage at high water. 8 days have passed since the shark attacked. Her first time here, she'd been a helpless pup. Now she's a helpless adult. Pieced back together by the same humans who'd once fed her formula every 3 hours and groomed her fluffy coat like doting otter moms. Her whole body throbs and aches or itches. The humans won't let her lick her wounds, though every fiber of her being tells her that's exactly what she needs to do. She's back in her old pup pool, and they can't seem to stop jabbing and jostling her. Still, she knows it's wise to tolerate their meddling. That much, at least, she's learned the hard way. Regret. As bad as the discomfort is, the regret is worse. How could she have been so reckless, venturing so far into the bay? How could she have put herself and poor Kyiri at risk? Had her mother's warnings meant nothing? Otter promises herself that when she returns to the water, she will be different. Cautious and sensible and grown up and boring. She won't venture too far. She'll won't long for those mouth-watering bay crabs. Won't spend every moment working on yet another thrilling move. She will stop being Otter. Looking. As she slowly recovers, memories of her time in the wild fill Otter's long days. After she'd left her otter teacher behind, she thought of it as a daring escape, but of course there was no way he could keep her from departing. It seemed she spent every waking moment searching. For what, she wasn't always sure. In a way, it didn't matter. Searching meant swimming, and swimming meant play, and play was her purpose. At first she looked for her mother, but no one seemed to know what had happened to her. Mothers moved on. That was the way of things. She searched for friends, and soon she found Kyiri and others to keep her company. Sometimes they would float together, paws entwined, 24 otters or more, a comforting tangle of whiskers and tails. She searched for sharks, saw a few, and knew to keep her distance. She searched for food, always ready to grab another morsel. It's hard to play when your stomach has other ideas. And even though she'd left them behind, she could never seem to stop searching for more humans, no matter how hard she tried. Visits. Otter's former caretakers were on the lookout for her, too. To her surprise, she often caught sight of them in a ridiculous puttering boat, watching her, watching them. No doubt they needed the boat because they were such lousy swimmers. Now and then, when she tailed a diver or visited a kayaker or ventured too close to a curious tourist, her old friends would appear with a net and a cage. Eventually, they would manage to catch her, and with heavy sighs and rolled eyes, move her away to an area with more otters and fewer humans. It was a pointless game, one she didn't understand, but like any devoted student, she was always delighted to touch base with her former teachers. Mistake. She loved her time of freedom, though there were hungry days and lonely ones, and Otter constantly reminds herself that she would still be whipping through whitecaps if only she'd been more careful. One shark, one mistake. That's all it takes to change your life forever when the ocean is your home. Rehab. At last, the humans decide Otter is healthy enough to play in the larger rooftop pool, the one with sky and sun and bright, clean air. But her body refuses to behave the way she wants it to. She's stiff and fumbling, and every move feels as graceless as a human's. Still, it's water, beautiful water, and that's all that matters. Stronger. One morning, Otter is moved to someplace new. As the humans carry her, Otter samples the air. The otter tank. There's another vague scent, too, one that makes her heart quicken. But only after she's splashed into the water can she ask Gracie and Holly, "Is there another otter here? An otter named Kyiri?" Catching up. "Hello to you too," says Holly as she and Gracie swirl around Otter, examining her scars and sniffing her head. "Tell us about it," Gracie urges, and Holly says not unkindly, "You're moving as slowly as we are, my girl." Otter stays silent, so the old otters will calm. "I will tell you the whole story," she finally says, "but first you have to answer me. Is there another otter here?" Gracie paws at an ear. "They call her Twyla," she said, "but I think her wild name was Kyiri." "Kyiri? Here? Where is she?" Otter demands. "And why is she here? Is she hurt?" She remembers Kyiri's nipped tail and the horrible smell of blood. "Is it because of a shark bite?" "No, dear," Holly replies. She has the shaking sickness, but the humans are making it better. Otter dives in circles to calm herself. When she emerges, she asks, "If Kyiri is better, then why isn't she here with you?" "The pup," Gracie answers, as if it's obvious. "The one that died." Twyla. They tell Otter the story then, how an otter the humans called Twyla was found beached, shuddering with the sickness that so many otters seem to have these days. No one realized that she would soon give birth to a pup. How she joined the tank not long ago, and how they'd had to tell her the truth. When the humans name you, it means you are here for good. How one day she gave birth to a stillborn pup and held its lifeless body, hugging it close for hours. How the humans had slowly, gently removed her and the pup from the tank. Where she was now, no one knew. Back in the tank. While it's good to be out of the pup pool and see the two old otters again, knowing that Kyiri has gone through haunts Otter's return to the tank, it helps a little to know it's not Otter's fault that Kyiri is here, but only a little. It hurts not being able to reassure her old friend, to call her silly minnow and do daredevil tricks until worrywart Kyiri is secretly amused. If she finds Kyiri here, Otter will promise her that all will be well. She'll make up a riveting story with a splendid ending, one where Kyiri roams free in the slough with a healthy newborn pup. Otter will be in the story too. She'll be the doting auntie who teaches the pup all her best moves. No matter how many times Otter practices the tale, though, she knows it's just a lie without an ending. Wrong. Days pass and everything is wrong. There's no sign of Kyiri, and there's no sign of the old otter either. She's slowly healing, but she simply can't move the way she used to. Her playful, mischievous self has vanished. The shark attack shadows her the way a stubborn cloud can steal the sun. The elderly otters try to encourage her, but nothing helps. She's beginning to wonder if she'll ever leave this place. Maybe she's meant to grow old here, like the others. Not long ago, Gracie reminded her that wild otters who spend too much time near humans are sometimes brought to high water for their own safety. Gracie was one of those curious types, she admitted. Otter thought back to all the kayakers and divers, boaters and tourists she'd investigated over the years. "I was like that too," she said softly. Still, she knows that even if she'd listened to her mother's warnings and stayed far away from humans, even if she'd evaded the shark, there were plenty of other reasons she might have ended up here at high water. Look at Kyiri, timid and vigilant. She'd done everything right, and it hadn't mattered in the least. Exam. The aquarists want Otter to exercise. They cajole and implore, dangling treats just out of reach, but she ignores them. She's eating little, diving even less, so they take her to the exam room, check her vitals, x-ray her belly, manipulate her paws and flippers, and when she's passive and silent, they worry. Where's the rambunctious pup they used to know? Could she possibly sense somehow the heartbreaking decision they finally reached? No, of course not. It's the right thing to do, and they know it, given her injuries and her long history of risky encounters with people, but the notion that she'll never again float in the slough, linked like a vital puzzle piece to other otters, a raft it's called, it's hard to accept. They can't help feeling, despite everything they've done, that they've let their dear friend down. Human noise. It's Gracie who notices first. She spent years hearing human noise, deciphering what she can. When sounds are repeated, it's a sign that something matters, to the humans anyway. Many noises end with a food reward, and that's reason enough to listen with care. Gracie means her. Good girl means a treat. Come means swim to the edge of the tank. Wait means prepare to be annoyed. It's only because she's had so much practice that Gracie takes note of the sound humans have become using whenever Otter's near. Jazz. Good girl, Jazz, they say. Come, Jazz. Wait, Jazz. The humans, she fears, have given her young friend a name. Never. For 2 days, Gracie waits. She doesn't have the heart to tell Otter that she, like the rest of them, will never be leaving. Jazz. She's not surprised, not really. For Otter, it feels like that day of the shark attack when she lay waiting to die. It's a relief giving up and accepting the inevitable. Hope can be exhausting. Spared. As the days blur together, a calm acceptance sets in. Truth is, it feels only fair, sharing the fate of her friends. Why should Otter be any different? And honestly, this life at high water, it isn't so bad, is it? She's safe and cared for, loved, it seems, by her human caretakers. Most importantly, she'll be forever spared the dark, determined threats of ocean life. No sign. Sometimes the otter thinks she catches Kyiri's scent in the air, but there's been no sign of her old friend since the pup's death. Every now and then, other intriguing smells waft past, and Otter will look to the elderly otters to see if they too have noticed something. But their noses don't work as well as they used to, and Otter tells herself that she's probably just imagining things. She's good at that, it appears. Absurd. This afternoon, 2 of the humans come calling for her. Jazz, come, Jazz. They tap on the edge of the tank, and she ignores them to make it clear she's not interested. But when a shred of crab meat appears, Otter meanders over to accept the treat between her paws. She glances at the humans and is surprised to see that one has covered herself in a confounding way. Humans are always wearing things to hide their lack of fur, of course, but this new effort is startling. From the neck down, the human is sheathed in something thick and loose and dark that hides her appendages, while her head is completely covered by a black box-like object. Even by human standards, which is saying something, she looks foolish. Not for the first time, Otter is grateful for her luxurious fur. Human bodies seem to offer plenty of opportunities for humiliation. Up to something. Another piece of crab, another instruction. Cage, Jazz, cage. Clearly they want her to climb up a ramp and enter the small cage that awaits, but that cage means a visit to the exam room where humans like to prod and measure her, and she is fine, thank you very much. More crab is offered, and when Otter still won't leave the tank, they resort to trapping her in a net. It's an unusual move and a bit embarrassing, but then she's being unusually stubborn. Otter hisses and screeches to show her displeasure. They are up to something, that much is clear. Knowing. A few minutes later, they approach the rooftop where her old pup pool is located, and even before the door creaks open, Otter knows with absolute certainty, as surely as she knows how to play, Kyiri is here. Back to the pup pool. Otter squeals and chirps and wiggles. The box-head human carries her cage toward a pool while the other human stays behind. As soon as the cage door opens, Otter leaps into the water with an impressive splash. Kyiri is in a small pool nearby, close enough for Otter to catch a glimpse of her friend. Kyiri looks well. Her fur gleams, and she's gained some weight. She's floating on her back, hugging a little toy to her chest, moving in her slow, deliberate Kyiri way. Kyiri! Otter darts back and forth. I've missed you! She cries, but her old friend is silent. Kyiri? Otter repeats even louder. Hello, Otter, Kyiri whispers at last. I've missed you too, my friend. So we're going to stop there, and in our next reading, we will finish part 3 and finish the book. Join me for our next and last video. Thanks for listening.